The title of this presentation is called The 3 Simple Steps to Find Unlimited Profitable Online Business Ideas in Less than 4 Minutes. A few things that you're going to learn inside this presentation are, number one, how to come up with unlimited profitable online business ideas that can maybe help you quit your 9-to-5 job. Number two, how to test your idea before you sink a dime into your new business. Also, I'm going to show you a way how you can get up to $200 in free ads. Number three, I'm going to give you a list of proven internet business models that require little or no technical skill to get started. Alright, so why am I doing this? My family and friends were always asking me, as someone that knows internet marketing and makes full-time income online, to evaluate their ideas. They would have all these ideas and they really didn't know how to start, if it was even a good idea to begin with, and kind of how to develop and evaluate that idea. After talking to more than a handful of people, I figured that they weren't the only ones that needed help in this area. So what I decided to do is actually make a short video that explains the process that I use to determine if an idea has a shot at turning into a real business. Before we go forward, let's just take a minute to examine what's possible and maybe answer some questions that you're having. And probably the most popular question, the most common question that people have about making money online is it really possible to do with little to no experience? And the short answer to that is yes, but as you can see, I included an asterisk next to it because there is a catch. And the catch is that 95% of people, there's studies that show this actually, more than 95% of people that try internet marketing never make a dime and often lose a lot of money in the process. And I'm not saying that to scare you, but in a way I am, because I want you to use the formula that I follow for quickly testing if an idea will work long before you spend time and money on it. This step of testing and researching is the step that most people miss, all right, or they do it improperly, and it costs them a lot of time and money and frustration. So make sure you do this part right. And let's take a look at a few examples of companies that have gotten this right. These are not typical by any means, but I want to give you some inspiration of what's possible for someone that's just starting out. Okay, so the first example is a company called Dodo Case. I'm actually not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's basically a case for an iPad that looks like a book, or it looks like something else. It disguises your iPad in a sense. And this company was started a little while back, and in the first few months they've actually did over $1 million in revenue. Another company called Flock Stocks, they now are doing $100,000 per month. And the internet has created a very unique opportunity for really anyone that's young or old. You can now start a profitable business online, no matter what your age is, what your current level of income is, or your background, your religion, your race, your creed, whatever it is. It really doesn't matter on the internet. Anyone nowadays can start a legitimate online business that helps people if they follow a proven system. Let me just say, it's easy to get carried away with an idea that might work, in theory, right? Everybody has a great idea. But often these ideas are unrealistic and miss the big picture, which is what the customer wants and will actually pull out their credit card and pay for. And I realize this is an oversimplification of a relatively complex topic, but at the same time, when you boil everything down, everything comes down to the customer and what they will act on and pay for, right? So, the 3 steps to developing your idea and testing it to see if it actually could turn into a viable business are: step number 1, does your product solve a problem or fill a need? Okay, so ask yourself, are people actively looking for a solution to this problem? And if they're not, chances are your product or service, whatever you're selling, might be a complete flop, right? And there was a quote by Zig Ziglar, right? And he said, if you help enough other people get what they want, you will eventually get what you want. And that's so true in the world of marketing. Everybody wants to convince other people of their great idea, when in reality the best strategy here is to go out and figure out what people are already searching for, what they already want, and then figure out a way how to help those people solve their problems. The three categories that I always start with when I'm identifying a niche, and this is especially helpful if you have no idea with the idea of the business that you want to start, you can start here. Start with the big three. And as you can see from the slide, those are the broadest categories, right? For example, in health, you could break that down into mental, physical, emotional categories. And you could go even deeper than that. For example, under physical, weight loss, muscle, training for marathons, those are all sub categories of the health, the big health category. And from there, you can even break it down even further, right? You could keep going. You could design, weight loss products designed specifically for women in their 40s or women after they've had a baby or whatever it is, right? So if you're confused on where to start, or if you want, to work within what's called the big three often in the marketing industry, the three biggest categories are health, wealth, and relationships. Step number 2. Before you make the investment, the mistake of investing thousands of dollars, you need to make sure that you actually have a viable idea. And this is something that, a mistake that I've made on more than one occasion, mainly because I was too eager to get my product out there because I was convinced that it was going to work. But if I had just done my research, I would have saved myself a heck of a lot of time and money that I could have been focusing on other products or services. So what you need to do is you need to one of the strategies that I like, one of the strategies that I think is the best for determining whether or not an internet business will work, and it's called commercial intent. And what does that mean? In my mind, the definition of it is the likelihood that your prospect will buy or pull out their credit card for whatever that thing is you're selling. So for example, take these two keywords, buy running shoes, which in my mind has high commercial intent, and compare it to something like free running tips, which has low commercial intent. So if you type either one of those phrases, buy running shoes or free running tips, into a search engine like Google, you're going to see different results. The quickest way to determine if there's commercial intent for your product is simply to type in that keyword phrase into Google and add a few variations of whatever you're trying to sell or whatever the description of your product is. Type 5 or 6 of those into Google, and if there's no advertisements at the top or on the right side, and it will say this is an ad right next to it. If there's no advertisements, it's a warning sign. Okay, so let's move on to step 3. Cheaply test your idea. And what you want to do is cheaply test the validity of your idea. And this is really where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. And not doing this, and not doing it in a way that's significant or accurate, can actually cost you thousands or millions of dollars, either in future investments of time or money, or what's known as opportunity cost. And if you're unfamiliar with what opportunity cost is, it's basically the cost of taking an alternative action, and this is according to Investopedia.com, is the cost of an alternative that must be foregone in order to pursue a certain action. So in other words, if your tests don't pan out, there's really no shame in moving on to the next thing. And preferably you want to run it through the series of research steps that I'm explaining here to validate that there's actually money in this niche to develop into a business. And if there's not, there's really no point in beating your head against the wall and trying to turn something that really has no hope into a business. You might make a little bit of money, but the point is your time is better invested somewhere else. Okay? And that's the point of all these tests, is to cheaply and quickly determine if there's actually a market for your product or service. And a really cool quote that I think of a lot actually comes from a guy by the name of Benjamin Disraeli. And he said, next to knowing when to seize an opportunity, the most important thing in life is to know when to forego an opportunity. So, if you really want to test your idea, if you really want to put it out there and see what happens, which is the best way to test an idea, of course, is to see what happens in real life, which is often very different than what happens in our mind. So what you need to do is set up a simple website that briefly explains your product and gets visitors interested in taking action using what I call the persuasion formula. And I'll go more into depth into this in a second, but for now, let's keep going. And what you need to do is search the internet for free vouchers for advertisements where you can send clicks or traffic to your page. And what I would recommend is using something called PPC, which stands for pay per click and not CPM, because you want to guarantee that people are visiting your page and you want to make sure that people are actually clicking on your ad, which in itself is an indication that people are interested in whatever you have to sell. Right now, or after this video, whatever you prefer, go to Google and search for the following: free Google ad voucher or coupon. You can replace voucher with the term coupon. Free Ad Center ad coupon or voucher. Free Facebook ad voucher or coupon. Free advertising.com ad voucher or coupon. And something that I do is I search for all of these phrases in Google, but I choose, I only search within the past month. And you can do this by going to the left side of Google after you search. Click on Search Tools and it will give you a drop-down box which is going to say, give you different time periods to search. And I only search in the past month, mainly because these marketing promotions where different companies like Google or Ad Center or Facebook give away free coupons to advertise. These change all the time. So it's best to just search things that have been presented in the past month or past 3 months.